Okay, example 1 says that we have an order to give drug Y 200 micrograms per minute, and it is available that we can get 250 milligrams in every 1,000 milliliters of D5W. So what is the flow rate? Now I want to talk about this phrase flow rate for a minute. Flow rate is just how quickly the solution is getting into your patient. Okay, we've got two ways of calculating the flow rate. You might remember from chapter 9, it's either going to be milliliter per hour or it's going to be drop per minute. Okay, the milliliter per hour is when we use a pump, an infusion pump or electronic device or something like that. Okay, the drops per minute comes into play whenever you use a gravity feed. If you are going to do drops per minute, they have to tell you the drop factor. Okay, that tubing drop factor. How thin is that tubing? Is it going to be able to handle 60 drops in 1 milliliter, or is it going to be able to handle something bigger like a 10 drops per 1 milliliter? So they will have to tell you a drop factor if they're going to ask you to do a gravity feed drops per minute. All right. Now this one didn't say anything about a drop factor, so we can just assume that we get to find milliliter per hour, and that means that our first fraction is going to have milliliters at the top, right? We said typically that comes from your label. Now, they didn't specifically state that it's a label, but they told us what's available, okay, that we can get 250 milligrams and 1,000 milliliters. So that's our first fraction. Be sure and stack the 1,000 milliliters on top since that is our desired answer. And that's going to shove milligram to the bottom. So now that milligrams at the bottom means our next fraction needs to have milligrams at the top. At this point, we would usually jump to the order, except our order is written in micrograms. So we actually need a conversion before we can get to our order. Let's remember that 1 milligram is 1,000 micrograms. Again, be sure and put that milligram piece on top. It's going to shove microgram at the bottom, but that's good because our next piece, we say, comes from your order, and it's going to have micrograms at the top, right? So 200 micrograms needs to happen per 1 minute. Okay, so again, those micrograms are canceling. So we're out of information, but check your units. I don't think we're done yet. The milligrams get to cancel, the micrograms get to cancel. We have milliliter on top, but our desired answer for the bottom is hour, and we only have it written as minute. So we're not quite finished, even though we've ran out of information up here. We need to somehow get minutes into hours. So let's remember the conversion that says there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Right, and then that should make all those units cancel. We have milliliter on top, hour on bottom, we're good to go. So multiply everything on the top, and we get 12 million. Multiply everything on the bottom, and we get 250,000. So by the time you divide those, we should be looking at a 48 milliliter per hour.